WSO2 identity server community call. So I'm Omido, and I'll be the moderator for today's session. As always, we have two interesting topics lined up to discuss with you guys. The first session would be by Inti, who will be talking to you about integrating WSO2 identity server with Splunk. So here Inti will walk you through on how to configure identity server to push events to Splunk and visualize logging and session analytics data. Next, we have Kugan, who will be talking about our Python authentication SDK. So this SDK provides an easy way to secure your Python web applications with the help of WSO2 identity server. And so if you are interested in what we have discussed in our previous calls, so you can head over to our identity server community called GitHub repo. So there we have listed out about the information on our previous calls, as well as some important links, such as the product page, Slack channel, and our Twitter account. So you can join the Slack channel or Twitter account for the latest update of our product and as well as the events we are doing. Right. So before moving on to the first session today, so I have picked a couple of blogs to go through, which our team members have written over the past couple of weeks. So the first two blogs I have picked, it's written by Vihaga. So this is in this blog series, Vihaga is basically giving a briefing on what identity governance is. So as you may or may not know, identity governance is a sort of a key discipline when it comes to IAM. So that itself has a lot of use cases and scenario to be covered. So in this blog, Vihaga explains what identity governance is and some of the prominent use cases, such as user registration. Then he talked about username and password recovery, account locking and unlocking, disabling, as well as password management. So this gives a good overview of some of the common use cases regarding to identity governance. In his next blog, Vihaga do a deep dive on identity governance, user self-registration. So here also he have done a deep dive on what the concept is and how to achieve user self-registration scenarios, both basic and advanced stuff with identity server. So he has explained in a step-by-step manner how to set up self-registration. So how to how to do user locking upon user registration, email verification after the user registration, and collect consent during the registration, as well as enabling reCAPTCHA for self-registration, right? So it's a very comprehensive blog. So if you are interested in looking into identity governance aspect, just do have a look. So these links are anyway mentioned in the summary of today's community call. Right. So moving on, the next blog, it's sort of an advanced use case with which you can achieve by extending the identity server. So this is about setting up a separate attribute store for identity server. So if you're familiar with the identity server, so as of now, what we support out of the box is you have to have the user's credentials and attributes in the same user store. So in this blog, Dimu to explain how to extend the product so you can separate out these two entities. So you can have the credentials on one user store while having the attributes on another user store. So in the blog, Dimutu has explained how to set up a sample POC to try this out scenario, and on extending the product using our one of the common extension points in the product, so identity use operation event listener. So he has explained step by step how to set this up, and along with the sample code base, you can head to this Git repository and check this out. and install this customization and try this scenario. So that is the second, or rather the third block I have picked. The final one, I have picked an integration block. So this is about configuring SSO, SAML-based SSO, to be precise, with Lucidchart Enterprise and WSO2 Identity Server. So I'm pretty sure you have heard about Lucidchart. Like, it's a very convenient tool for collaborative diagramming. So in this block, Minoli goes into detail how to configure the Lucidchart side of things to enable single sign-on. So what are the configurations you have to do, etc. So it's a very detailed tutorial. And finally, how to like configure WSO2 Identity Server to complete the integration. So and how to try this out, or rather verify this integration. Okay, so again, like if you are interested, like please head to this summary README and check out these blogs, right? So let's move on to the first session of the day. So anyway, before moving on, if you have any questions related to any of these sessions we do today, or any other related questions to WSO2 Identity Server, if you're in the Zoom call, you can unmute yourself and ask the question here. Or else, if you are joining from through our YouTube channel, you can put the questions on the chat, as well as in Zoom as well. You can raise the same question on the chat. Yeah, so Inti, I'll hand over to you to go with the Splunk integration session. So Inti will be doing a brief introduction on how to integrate WSO2 Identity Server with Splunk, and how to publish login and session event to Splunk, and configure demo dashboard to visualize these statistics which we publish. Over to you, Inti.
Hi guys, I'm Indra Kumaran and they call me Inti. First, let me share my screen. So like in today's session, so sometime back I have written a blog which give you step by step like details, like how you can integrate Splunk with our WSO2 IS. And today, like in this session, we will go through that and do the setup and see whether like how we can do a simple like analysis from Splunk over like our IS data. So let me give a small introduction about our event publisher. So like WSO2 IS has a capability to publish like different events. So like, it's like we can publish our events, like a login events, or our session events, or our token events, like over HTTP or Logger, or like we have like a lot, like tons of different adapters that you can use. Like in if you go to like our publisher details, like you can see like what type of publishers we can support. Like we have like a lot of capabilities that you can use. And the thing is mostly like if you see like by default, if you use our analytics server, we use as something called WSO2 events. But in this like demo, like we will go through like how we can set up and our publisher like over HTTP. So that's a small brief intro about our publishers, and I have attached this link in the resource of this blog, and if you want, like you can go there and check. And then about so let me about Splunk, I hope like everyone knows it, but let me give a small intro. Like this Splunk is one of the leading vendors in data platform, and they have like amazing data analyzing capability. And you can get this Splunk as free version, or like you can get enterprises, or like you can even go to their cloud-based solution. So in this block, guys, like overall, like we have like 3 separate sections. So first section is about like how you can download a Splunk and up it and configure it so that we can publish the data. And the second part will be like how, like what are the changes or configurations we have to do in our WSO2 IS site. And in the last part, we will see like how we can run the the sample dashboard I have created. And let's just go through that and see like what are the like infos we can get for the login data. So this demo is guys like mostly about our login data, and like it's about login, but it's very similar. Like similarly, you can configure it for our the session or like or token. So those kind of stuff you can do, and in the go like I will like explain like if you want to do for the session how you can do. Okay, so first let me go go into the steps. And if you go to the first section, it's about Splunk, like how we can configure Splunk. And in the first two steps, so I have just give you the like documentations, like where you can download the Splunk and how you can start it. And for this, like if you want to download the Splunk, then you may have to register yourself and get it back. And the next thing is like so for this demo, like I'm using a 7.3, but I think they have latest version 8.2. But so almost all the changes are similar. And if you have any configuration issue, I think Splunk community is very good. And like if you just do a small search, like you will be able to find like the solution for your problems. So that's about the first two steps. Okay, then let's go to the main step for our this Splunk application is about like how we can make the Splunk to accept HTTP event. So in order to do that, we are making use of their feature called like the HTTP event collector. So if you go to the data inputs, it's a bit. So go to the settings, and if you go to the data inputs, like they have like a different ways to get inputs like files and TCP and stuff. But we will make use of this HTTP event handler. And if you go here, guys, like and if this is your first time you're doing, then make sure like you go to the global settings and you enable like all the tokens. Because by default, most of the tokens, like all the tokens are disabled, and you have to enable them one by one. So to avoid the hassle, like you can straight away go there and enable all the tokens. As well as for this demo, I'm not enabling this SSL, and if you want SSL, that also like you can easily configure it. So that's about this global settings. So after doing the global settings, next step, let's again match with our block. So you will go to the HTTP handler, then yeah, so it's about these global settings and enabling part. Then about like creating a token for ourselves. So this token is like we are using for the authorization and and not only authorization. So this token will help you to identify like from which source you are getting this data, or like you can like make use of this token to like differentiate your like you might have like multiple like data streams, like one for like login and one for session. And if you make use of this token very well, like you can easily differentiate them and create your own dashboards. So let's go and create a token. So if we go here, like we can give a any name. So let's give IS one. And so for this for my sample dashboard, what I did is I make use of this source, and like this source is I use the source as a base to like identify the data I want in the Splunk. So and I clearly mention here like you have like if you are using the sample dashboard we created, like you have to make sure that you have made the source as IS test. And here like you can give any like a description about this token, so that you can it will help you. So after that you can proceed forward, and once you submit, like you will get the token, and this is the token value that will help us to identify uh, our data stream. So and the next thing is like, so after you configure it, so what I have done is I have provided you with a curl command, guys, so that you can make sure that you have like set up, like you have so far you have set up the Splunk correctly. So and so this curl command you can try out. I guess I have already have that curl in the Postman, and I will try that. So if you see, so the important thing is like I need this token. To do in the authorization, and in the body, like I just copy the sample, like data body that like event that comes for a login, and once we send it, so if everything goes, if you have done everything good, like you will get a success message here, and then you can verify that in the Splunk as well. So if you go to search and made the source as ISS, and if search is you can see like like so it will show the data like just like I have sent that, which I have sent from the postman. So now you can make sure that you have configured the Splunk correctly, and everything works as expected in the site Splunk. And now let's go to our IS site, and let's see like what are the configs we need to do. So first thing is like if you first thing is like we need to enable like the publishing of login data from IS site. So in order to do that, you have to go to the deployment toml, and you have to like enable the listener, as well as you have to specify like what publisher you want to use. And so since I'm just we are gonna analyze the login data, like we will only enable this event listener as well as this login data publisher, and we won't add this config. And if you want the session data, you can enable this one as well. And for the ease of use, like I have already provided that in the block. So okay first, so I have a 510 pack, and if you want it, so okay, so the pack is ready. Then so let's go to the okay, let me open the deployment terminal for this. So, okay, as you can see, this is a deployment terminal, and wait a minute. So okay, so we are here, we can, so these two are the config, like you need to add to enable the login data in and you just need to add in the deployment terminal. And the next important thing is like so this is about enabling the publisher listeners, but in order to provide the details about which party to send and like what kind of like event type we are going to use, like we have to edit the publisher XML, and I have provided you the path for the login publisher. And if you go here, like and okay, so let me show you guys. So like, so we have like many different publish XMLs, like so there are publish XML. So this is the publish XML for the authentication data, but we have for token revocation, as well as we have one for session and one for user data. So like if you want to like publish that to a Splunk or a different one, then you have to edit these things, or like you have to make a copy of them and add the custom settings like you want to add to the publisher. So for the moment, let me take this publisher. Okay, and about like and I have provided you with the sample like configs you need to add, and so you can copy that and paste it here. So just let me briefly go through this, and here this name is belong to this publisher, and so this will help you to identify whether this publisher is correctly deployed or not. So in the server, in the logs, you can find if this publisher is configured properly, you will see a log saying like this publisher is up and running. So we will differentiate our publisher saying like appending a Splunk. And next thing is you need to notice this event type. So this is must, and we need to make sure that this is HTTP, since I'm using HTTP event collector for the Splunk. And if you want logger, you can go for logger as well. And then you have to, in the Splunk, then you have to go through the input of that log file flow. So and the next thing is even if it is HTTP, we have the capability to publish XML and different formats. And but for this demo, we will use the JSON. So that is the next important thing. And other thing is about this authorization header. So here, we need to give the token that we have created, so that it will publish to the Splunk correctly. So again, let's go back to this data inputs, and so you can always go to this HTTP event collector and see the token you have created. So this is the token we have created, and let me do this. Okay. So let us paste this, save this. So in the IS side, so we did two changes in two places. So one is in deployment terminal, where we enable the listener as well as the publisher. And in the publisher XML, we have provided specific details of where to publish and in which mode, and what type of event adapter we need to use, and those things being provided. So that's all for what you have to do. Let me check the block again. So okay, so that's all. So now what we do is let's start the server. Okay, so to up the server, it may take some time. So in between, we will go to the next section. The next section is about installing the sample dashboard which I have created. And you can get the SPL files for this sample from the public available, and you can get it easily. The thing is, I have already downloaded this and I have a copy. So let me just show you where you can install it. So if you go in the apps, if you go to this settings page, you will get this view, what are the applications available in your Splunk. And here you need to select this install from app, and here you can choose that SPL. And so once you choose and upload it, automatically that application will be installed in your Splunk server. And this is what, so this is my so this is the one I installed. And so again, you can go back to the home page, and if you see the site, so once if you have successfully installed it, you will see this demo application. And if you click it, guys, so our demo application will be some it will have a look like this. And so it will it will give you the details overall total atoms and what are the failed atoms you had. And it contains a detail about what are the service providers we have used. So if you see earlier, I have used that Postman to send a dummy data, and so that it showing that details as well. So it will show what is the service provider, and it will show the login success, as well as it has a graph for the login pattern over time, as well as in the final I have a table which dumps most of the details IP address, username and stuff, as well as I have some filters so you can filter based on the service provider, or you can filter based them on the tenant, or if you want you can filter based on the users as well. As well as you have the time picker, and you can choose between how which period you want to analyze. So these are the features of this example one, and here, so this is the place I mentioned to you earlier. So if you have provided a custom name, so you can see like so our publisher has been like deployed, and you will get a log saying that. So okay, so it might take some time, and let's go through what are the other details we have. So here, install it, and one thing is like this dashboard will always get updated for every 30 minutes. So, and that's all about this block. And like so once the server starts, let's do a login, and like a good login and a bad login, and see like how the dashboard changes. Before that, we can go through the resources I have pointed out. So one thing is like so this dashboard, like so this is just a basic version, so I pointed out in this doc, but I have updated this to like have like a login as well as session, and I have updated some panels as well. So those source code you can find from uh, this GitHub repo, and as well as I have pointed you to the pre-request as well for the Python. The next thing is so this is the publisher, like the details you can get about or event publishers, and see like what type event types adapters we support. Next thing is so I have written a blog on my updated dashboard as well, so you can check them. So this is like this is a detailed one, so it will show like each info about each panels. And the last is about like I have written another block on this is very common. So this is about just publishing over HTTP or log file. So it's not specific to Splunk, so it's but commonly like how you can publish login data or session data. Yes, our server is up. Okay, so again, let's go back to our and see like how it looks. So currently it has one login item from the service provider of Postman. Okay, let's go on. Let's go. As you can see, this is our user portal. So let me type invalid email address and try to login. So it says login failed, and if you see, so it might take some time to refresh. Or if you want, like we can refresh it here. So as you can see, like it shows like total attempts as 2, and it says like there is a one failed attempt. And later on, like let me do a good login. So okay, so once you do a good login, so that will also get reflected again. So okay, so those details you can get. And not only this dashboard, like in Splunk you have the capability to like extend this to send alerts and notification as well. I guess that's all about this session, and I think I have covered almost all the steps. And if you have any questions, we can discuss in the Q&A session, or like you can like post it in our forums, or like even you can put it in the comment section of this blog, and I'll try to answer. And that's all about this session, guys. Thank you both for being with me, and Amindu, over to you.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you for that detailed session on Splunk. So as Indy mentioned, the resource links will be available in the YouTube description as well. So have a look and try yourself. Okay, so next we have our second session today's lineup. Right. So this will be done by Kuben. He will be explaining how to use our Python authentication SDK and to secure a Flask Python web application. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So I'll let Kugan explain the rest.
Thanks, Nominda. Okay, so I'm Kugan. I'm working as a data science engineer. I have worked as a software engineer in IIT for around 1 year. So I'll be covering the session of securing the Flask application with WSO2 IIT server with Python authentication SDK. To introduce the Python SDK, we all know that the Python application can be easily written, but securing the Python application is really hard for the developers. So also we know that WSO2 IIT server offers the best end-to-end developer experience to create the seamless login experiences. Why we develop Python SDK is to give the developer experience so that they could be able to secure their Python application easily with using the Python authentication SDK within some minutes. So as a first step, we have launched our first version of Python SDK with supporting for the Flask framework. But we are continuously focusing on developing the support for other frameworks as well. In the meantime, you can contribute to the Python SDK as well. Let me share the screen first. Okay, so this is our repo. You can go to the Asgardeo Python SDK. Before that, you can easily use this by installing using pipe install Asgardeo or Python SDK. So the happiness is like within around 1 month, we have around reached 2K downloads. Yeah, you can try that. So how to use this and what are the documentations we can have that in the Asgardeo. You can see it and you can install it. So in order to start with the Flask framework, you can go here and see like how you can configure and set up your application and configs, and then how you can add the authentication to it. So to give more explanation, I have written a blog. So you can see that in the YouTube link as well. Here it gives a whole lot of explanations. You can go through that. So for this session, I will refer this blog. So you could be able to go through this blog after I finish this session as well. So first, I will explain how you can, what it will be like a Flask web application. So say like the Flask application, you will have a app.py or server.py that will have the server logic, and templates will have the front-end HTML files, as well as static files as all the CSS images and JavaScript and CSS files. And that certification is to mitigate with SSL error. And then when it comes to configs, configs has a whole lot of configs, but this particular config file will have the configuration related to identity server. So first of all, if you have this setup, then you have the Flask application. Then what you need to do is you have to secure the application. So in order to secure the application, first of all, you need to register your application in the identity server. So in order, if you want to register an application, you need to first go to the management console. So if you go to the management console, you will see some UI like this. So I will try to log in. Okay, so here, if you go to the service under the service provider, what you need to do is you have to create a service provider with some name sample app, and then you have to register. Then the protocol we are using is OpenID Connect. So then in the inbound authentication, you have to create an OpenID Connect application. So what you need to do is you have to give the callback URL, and then you have to callback URL, which is the URL that is kind of invoking your invoking the call from the identity server. So then after adding, you are good to go. Then it will give a client ID and client secret. Then what you need to do is you have to copy and paste the those client ID and client secret. So to pass track, what I did was I have created an application. Here you can see that. So I have copied those, and I did the setup. So I will quickly go through this. So login callback URL is the one when you after you log in, how identity server will communicate with your application, and logout callback URL is which URL it need to be redirected after the logout. So the client cost is the one the Flask application is costed, and then client ID and client secret already know to identify the service provider, and then server origin is the identity server. So I have already started the identity server. So that is running on port 9443. And the tenant already know that WSO2 has tenants, and the tenant is under WSO2.com, and the certification path is under this directory. So yeah, so that's the configuration. After you configure, what you need to do is you have to come to the server login. So usually what happens is you will have some endpoints. So say like home URL, and you will have some logic, and it will show the UI. So in the UI, you need to show that UI only when it's when the user is authenticated. But here comes the Flask authentication SDK part. So what you need to do is first you have to import the Flask authentication SDK. Then you'll get a instantiated object. Then using that object, you can call the functions like login, logout, and get the user details. And you can refresh the token as well. So those functionalities are there. Those are documented as well. So in Python, we use something called decorator to not to repeat the code and not to repeat the functions. What we can do is we can put this logic, say like if the session is not there, then we will redirect to the login page. If it is not, then we will directly give the access to the dashboard. So that's how the logic works. So record should be added using @ sign in the protected endpoint. So I have added the protected endpoint, and when it's come to the login part, how this login works is first you have to call the sign in. Then sign in will then what it will do is it will check whether this is from the code or it is token response. According to that, it will redirect to that page. Then how lockout works is it's easy. You have to call the sign out itself. It will automatically calls the lockout. So I will show the demo first. So I'll go to the application. So I am accessing the protected endpoint. So now it's redirected to the sign-in page. Now let me try to log in and see what it does. So it is redirected to the WSO2 identity server page. You can see it here. So I'll try to log in. So now it gives the user details. So you can see that the display names and the access token, all the details has been displayed. This is a sample application. So yeah, then I'll try to log out. Yeah, this page has been displayed. So let me try to access the protected endpoint again. Yeah, now it is redirected to the login page again. So yeah, now we have successfully secured the application. So that's it for the demo. But yeah, so what you can do is you can come to our repo and you can contribute to this application as well. Also, you can read through this blog, and if you have any questions, you can ask us in the Slack channel as well. So you can access the Slack channel that has been linked there. You can ask your questions there as well. Yeah, that's all for the session. Have a good day.
So thanks a lot, Gugan, for that session on demo. So again, if you are interested in trying this out, or if you have a use case which requires authenticating, integrating or supporting authentication for your Flask application, you can head on to the links posted in the YouTube description and try out our samples and try out this integration. Okay, so that's pretty much it about the sessions today we have planned. So if you have any questions, we are happy to take. I think we already have a question on the YouTube chat. So it's from, so Haribabu wants to know how to perform HA active testing and write test cases. Okay, so assuming that your requirement is to test out the HA functionality of the product. I think so. If you think about this, it's a bit of a broader requirement, which will require you to have to develop a test bed to achieve this. So basically, you can use a platform, something like Cypress or Test Cafe or even JMeter for this particular requirement. So what I can think of as of now is so the deployment complexity you have to anyway like taken care of. So you have to have the deployment ready, and when that deployment is there, you can implement the scenarios based on like your preferred testing platform. Let's say, for example, JMeter. So so just first identify your use cases, obviously. So basically, so the HA nature is like coming to place mostly because when you have scenarios which happen sequentially. For example, if you consider the OpenID Connect authentication or a SAML authentication, so the entire flow involves multiple requests and responses. So what you can do is like from the test scenario, you can alternatively like invoke the particular node. Like let's say you have node 1 and node 2. The first request goes to the first node, and the second request goes to second node. So you can try out that HA HA behavior. Like let's say, in case the request which the node which serves the request goes to the second node, like in a sequence. Let's say the first request goes to first node, and in a scenario where the second request goes to second node. So without like so the states should be preserved between those two. So obviously, like with the WSO2 identity server, we do have the DB based session persistent, so the states will be persisted. So ideally, if the request goes to alternative nodes, it should be able to take care of that situation. And apart from that, I would say like so you can ideally like alternatively, like maybe shut down one node and test out the authentication scenario and see whether if things are working as expected. So those are like some of the cases I could think of as of now. But the bottom line is, so for this sort of testing, like you will have to like design this test bed in order to like have the HA set up and have the test setup run test setup pointed to that particular cluster and execute your scenario. So if you want to have the JMeter tests, we have some generic set of JMeter tests we use for performance testing. So you can reuse this if you. So we can post it in the, I think in the YouTube channel, or if you like quickly, it's in the performance IS repository. We can mention it in the YouTube description. And if you want to have a like further discussion, you can also like ping us on the Slack channel, so one of us can have a more detailed conversation with you on if you have any specifics on that. Right. So any other questions? I'm happy to take. So if not, like meantime, I'll give some information on the next steps of our community call. So we are planning to have our next community call on 26th of August. So basically next month, and a couple of announcements as well. So our next Identity in 15 session is scheduled to be held on 27th July. That means next Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So in this session, we will be discussing about on OIDC backchannel logout and how to achieve it with WSO2 identity server. And also, if you have any requests specifically that you want us to talk about during the community call, or in case if you need updates on our next community call, so you can head on to our identity access management page and click on the community button. So we have two forms. Basically, if you want to get notifications on how to subscribe, basically notifications on the future community calls, you can like simply register here. Or if you are interested on doing a session during this community call, or submit a particular topic that you want us to talk about, just head here and mention what you really want us to talk about. Or if you want to do a session again, like mention it in this description box and submit. So yeah, we can consider that your suggestions to a coming community call. So don't see any other questions. Okay, so I think we can conclude this edition of the community call. Again, as always, thanks for joining and keeping in touch with us. See you all in the next community call. Bye-bye and take care.